I am the most famous American that you know, and that is a fact. Let's check out a comment that I received quite recently. I made a video that is more popular than I expected it to be, actually. I thought this would be one that was easily ignored, but I made a video called "The USA is Not a Melting Pot. It's Chunky Beef Stew," which, by the way, I came up with that title after I already filmed the video. I was like, man, I should have said that in the video, but I didn't. Our great friend, Fab French, one of the most consistent, faithful viewers I have on this particular channel, left a great comment about that. And ultimately, I think that he probably left the comment that got me to that realization that, yes, the USA is not a melting pot, as I remember being taught that in social studies in like 6th grade, but I made a video to negate that. And when you check out the comments on that, you'll see where Fab French, at the very bottom of his first comment, here's what he said, quote, "You said that you can guess a person's religion due to his looks. I'm not sure in your case. If I see you at first, I might think this guy is surely a Catholic and is very likely to speak Spanish, Italian, or maybe French. You do not look like you are an Anglo-Protestant, but you actually are," end quote. So let's just talk about that. I mean, it is true, and I think, I've made videos before where, for newer viewers or first-time viewers, to try to figure out, what my ethnic background is according to my DNA test, which, if you're really that curious, if you can find the channel trailer for this video, channel actually is a breakdown of that, if that's something you're interested in seeing. But I think it is interesting, and I think, at least in the United States, it is largely predictable that you can look at a person, know what their native language is, their first spoken language is, and pretty accurately predict their religion. In the United States, it's easier to do than maybe the rest of the world. But in the United States, I'd say that's a fairly easy thing to do. And I love the way that he went ahead and took a stab at it, saying, had he not known already, he would assume that I didn't speak English based on how I look, and assume that I'm Catholic based on how I look. Neither of those are true. I am not Catholic. I am Protestant, and English is my first language. I did take 4 or 5 years of French between high school and college, and despite a quarter of my heritage going back to Mexico, not even my grandma, who was a first-generation American, really spoke any Spanish. So it's funny that I do have, French and Spanish language kind of in my life, but no, obviously English is my only language that I really speak thoroughly. I can read French and largely understand it at this point, but as far as speaking it, not so much. So, and the thing about being Catholic, well, again, you'd imagine though, if a quarter of my heritage goes back to Mexico, well, that whole side, of course, they were Catholic. And that was my mother's mother. My mother's father, their whole side came from Italy. And though we have since learned that there was undeniably Spanish, Jewish, Sephardic Jewish DNA that came through that side, and also West Asian, Iran, Iraq, Turkey, etc., the religion, by the time they got to the United States, was also Catholic. They were Catholic. There was obviously, whether it was, them being forced to become Christians at some point in Spain or Italy, whatever, probably. But by the time they got to the United States 100 years ago, they were Catholic. So what I'm telling you is, if we go back to my ancestors 100 years ago, half of my ancestors are all Catholic. And also, if we're going back 100 years, they're either speaking Spanish or Italian. Half of my ancestors. The other half, no. The other half are going to be Anglo. They're going to be speaking English, and they're going to be Protestant. Basically, so for my dad's half, so for half of me, Anglo, speaking English, Protestant. For the other half, Spanish, Italian, Catholic is what you're going to see. So yeah, I mean, that's a fair observation. It is true. You did a good job guessing. But because I'm an American, though, that's what throws things off. And I will say, though, I think in a lineup, if you had to guess in the United States where I'd be from, I think you'd be most accurate to guess New Jersey. I think I have more of a New Jersey ethnic makeup probably than any other state. Maybe California, maybe Texas, because there is a lot of Mexican American background in certain states like that. But specifically though, I think I'm Anglo enough to still kind of fit into that New Jersey category, where it's like, is he Italian? Is he Jewish? Either a little bit of both. To me, I have more of the New Jersey ethnic makeup. But who cares what I say? All that really matters is what you say in the comments right here.